Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position.
That was President Donald Trump with Ukraine's President Zelensky earlier this afternoon, a moment that set up uncertainty for the future of the U.S. relationship with Ukraine and with Russia. And joining us now on the phone is Richard Haass, Counsel on Foreign Relations President Emeritus and Centerview Partners Senior Counselor. He's also the author of the weekly newsletter Home and Away on Substack. Richard, great to have you and your perspective right now. First off, I'm wondering, given the response that we've seen thus far, coming in from developed countries in Europe, traditional post-World War II allies of the U.S., given some of the pullback in aid that we've seen from the Trump administration thus far with USAID, things like that, what do you think are the mid- and longer-term implications of these actions?
I think if you add them all up, and today may have been the icing on the cake, what a lot of our partners and allies will judge or determine is that this is simply a very different United States. Some may like it, some may, but more, I think, will dislike it. And I think then it gives them choices. It allows them to think about, do they appease or cozy up to a powerful neighbor? Do they become more self-sufficient or try to become more self-sufficient, perhaps developing nuclear weapons programs because they're not confident that U.S. forces are going to stay in their country or nearby for long? I think the question is also what adversaries think. Do they sense that this is a moment where they can afford to be much more adventurous because there's much less chance that the United States would push back? So I think what we're essentially seeing, for better and for worse, and again, my view is more likely the latter, is what you might call the end of what is left of the post-World War II world, the alliance system and the international institution norms that the United States had so much to do with setting up.
A lot more at stake here than money, but this is CNBC, so I'm going to ask some money questions here. Given that, that reaction, that expectation, and given the Trump administration's position on tariffs, trade relations, does it make it more or less likely that these tariffs, as proposed, lead to just being a negotiating tactic without trade wars resulting with allies, or more likely that we actually end up in a less efficient, higher trade barrier environment even with our allies?
The answer is probably both. Some of the tariffs may simply be put into place for leverage. We saw that with Canada and Mexico early on. Some of the others, though, whether they're against friends or adversaries, seem more structural, what the president calls reciprocal tariffs. And if they're a response to trade imbalances, it's hard to see how they get lifted anytime soon. All things being equal, I think we're looking at a trade environment, an economic environment, much more defined by tariffs. And I think also it'll invite reciprocity from other countries. And I think the big question for you all listening and watching is what it would mean for, among other things, a rekindling of inflationary pressures here at home.